Alright, BoLS fans, we are at the demo table here for Relic Knights. John's going to walk me through a quick couple rounds, so John, take it away. What do we got?
Awesome. So, you guys are about ready to dive into Relic Knights. First thing to call out right away is that there's no dice on this table. This is a diceless battle game. It brings in a lot of mechanics from card-based games, and it throws it right into a tactics-based strategy game right on the board. Every player's got one of these. This is an Esper deck. An Esper is what we call our magical energy in this universe, and what it is a management of resources that allow you guys to generate all the powers and abilities that you guys are going to use when you're fighting on the tabletop. The player, go ahead and draw 5 cards for yourself. He's going to start the game with 5 cards in his hand. Now in this game we've already decided that the Shattered Sword, which is who I'm playing, we're going to be taking the first turn to kind of walk through a little bit of the mechanics of how all this stuff works. Now the size of your game, just like in other miniatures games, is predicated on the amount of points you're going to spend building out your cadres. In this case we have a very, very small point value game, and the point value determines, if you guys want to take a look at this dashboard here real quick, determines how many slots are being forced that you guys have to fill in order to set your priority. These are called ready slots. In a small game, only 2 of them have to be full at any time. Any additional units in the game will be cards set aside in your idle pile that you'll be able to draw into play as you keep moving things along, okay? So for my side, I have Ostrachin, I have my Paragons, and I have Navarre Hauer. All of these guys are fighting on my team. I only got 2 of these guys I have to lock in. Once I've set up my forces, I've set it up so that I'm going to be activating Ostrachin first, followed by the Paragons, and anything I have left is going to be sitting in my idle pile. When I look over to your side, Mara Kanto, she's going to be your first character activated, followed by your Berserkers, and then her Cypher lock me. So, it's worth mentioning real quick that every force in the game is always led by a knight of some kind. And a knight can be a questing knight or a relic knight, and it's simply going to be predicated on what kind of model they're going to be. The relic knights, being kind of the chief among them, are going to be riding giant mecha or big monsters. It'll be much more powerful in gameplay. Questing knights are sort of on their quest to find their relic, but they're still very powerful characters, and they're going to be the leader of your factions. The one thing that sets a knight aside from the rest of your army are these little guys. These are ciphers. And the cipher is essentially like his own little personal magical totem, if you will, where the universe has kind of grabbed him by the cell and said, hey, listen, you're going to be a person of great importance. We're going to start focusing a lot of your attention, your ability to tap Esper on a universal scale, and it's going to come out to be a little reflection of your personality, if you will, and every one of the questing knights has their own little cipher that's going to follow them around. These models are totally indestructible in the game, and they can be a total pain in the butt when you're playing, because their job is to focus energy, help keep you on your toes, and get in the way and annoy your opponent quite a bit.
They can pass Esper background.
Oh man, they can suck it up and they can throw it at you, they can do all kinds of cool stuff. So, right off the bat, I'm going to activate my first model, which is Ostrachin. Big, mighty Ostrachin. So this big guy is going to go ahead and activate. I've gone ahead and moved him over here to my active slot. I slide over my Paragons, leaving an empty slot right here. So right off the bat, I get a movement. So my movement for this guy is 5 inches. So I got my measuring tape, handy dandy, apparently in Soda Pop Pink.
You get around to the other side for this will probably be a little bit easier to look over your guys' shoulders like this.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I got a 5-inch move on this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and tear across the battlefield and get here as quick as I can to try to get into combat. He's primarily a close combat monster, so his job is to go and beat face as much as he can. So he's moved his 5 inches. Now after making a move, your character gets to take an action. So I pull up my reference card for Ostrachin, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the things that I can do. Now I have a couple of close combat attacks, but neither of them are going to allow me any additional movement. And I have an armor, which is going to be a response to taking attacks. So for right now, he does not have any action he's going to be able to take, but I'm going to go ahead and go to my hand real quick and see if there's anything else here that I'm going to be able to do. So my options right now are to go ahead and complete my turn by skipping my action and completing my follow-on move. If you notice on the game cards, the movements are tiered, and most of your skill abilities are tiered as well. So I have an initial movement and I have a follow-on movement of 5 inches and then 4. So this is an anime-themed game. We want our guys jumping around the table, beating up as much stuff as they can. 4 more inches is going to carry me into combat with Mara Kanto for my next round fight. So now what I do is I'm going to go to my hand of cards. Now at the end of my turn, if I have cards in my hand I don't think I'm going to use, I'm allowed to discard and draw back up to my hand size. Going through to my characters, I double check my cards real quick to see what kind of energy these guys are going to be needing, and it looks like I'm going to be needing a lot of green and blue coming up. So I try to customize my hand as much as I can. Going through my stuff, I got 3 cards I don't think I'm going to use. I'm going to discard that and draw 3 new cards into my hand. When looking at your Esper cards, what you'll notice is that there's a large icon and a small icon. The large icon is going to be worth 2 energy of that type, and the small is only worth 1. When paying for an ability, what you're going to do is you're only going to be able to access either or when it comes to laying down your power.
So again, just to clarify, that card is green and 2 green, 1 blue, but when you use the card, it's either 2 green or 1 blue.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's my hand. I tuck it away. I'm all done, and I'm going to go ahead and pass turn off to you.
So slides over to active card, slides over to the ready slot.
Yep.
Oh, when do you recycle back into the ready slot?
So at the start of my next turn, since this card's been activated, I go ahead and put this over into the idle pile. Start of my next turn, I'm going to select a card to fill that empty slot.
Okay, cool. So back to my turn.
Yep.
This slides over. Hurricane 2 is up.
Yep.
I'm looking at my cards just to kind of plan ahead, and I don't have enough red energy to do anything as far as my attacks go. So
here's an amazing benefit of your character, though, just to throw out there real quick. Exactly. So since you're a knight and you start within line of sight of your own cipher, you're able to draw a colorless Esper into your holder right here, which is more like a battery that you charge up.
This one.
So each one of those is going to be marked off. It's going to allow you to have 2 color of any type that you want in order to cast your ability. And so it's a great way to start, which what makes the Question Knights look better off from the get-go.
Exactly. So because of that now, this 2 red, I can actually become 3. So I'm looking at my attacks. What can I use? What can I use? Let's see. That's orange, right?
Yep, orange.
Orange. So planning ahead, I can't do that one, but I can do this Heartseeker. So I'm going to try to get away from him. My initial move is 6, and my follow move is 6 feet as well. So I'm going to run over this big guy and be like, I'm scared. Move there. I do have a bow. I don't think I'm close combat monster. So anyway, I'm going to declare my attack. I'm going to use the Heartseeker on this guy. It's going to be 2 there, and then 1 held Esper for 3 total.
Yep.
So it goes off, right? Explain how this all works.
So the way this works now is that your character is now making a ranged attack against my model, okay? So going here to your ranged skill ability, you have a ranged skill of 4. After having the energy to declare your initial attack, you then draw 4 cards into your hand. Then going to your card, declare whether or not you're going to take a press. So if you notice here underneath the action are a couple of skills with arrows next to them. These you can add extra Esper into in order to gain additional benefits. In many cases, enhancing damage, giving you extra special abilities, doing cool stuff for you. So you want to get it up as powerful as you can. So your attack started out at a damage 4 range attack, and now you're going to be adding something, I hope.
So real quick, these are the 4 cards that I drew, and if you notice, I have a void card. Don't even tell them what the void card does.
Void card's nothing. It's just a big, empty, gaping hole in your hand.
Dang it. So that was useless. But I did draw some red power here. So 3 there. Looking at my card here, I can bump it up the damage. So I'm going to spend the 2 red to do that. I don't have enough purple to do the redirect, but he doesn't really have any redirects at this point anyway. Nope. So that's not even going to matter. So I'm going to spend the 2 red on top of that to make it a total of 6 damage.
That's right. So from my side, I'm going to go to my character's card. Now, taking shooting, the secondary number is going to determine what my defense against shooting is. So I'm going to draw 2 cards into my hand, and I'm going to go to my reference card, see whether or not I have a defensive action that I can take. Now, Ostrian does have a shield ability, which is going to enhance his armor up to 4, assuming that I have 4 purple and 2 red. So go into my hand. I'm looking for 4 purple and 2 red. I have 2 red, and I got 2 purple, and I got nothing left. So it looks like I don't have enough Esper in my hand in order to get off a defensive ability, and I'm going to take how many points of damage?
6 points total.
Going to my card, I have 2 points of armor. I'm going to subtract that from the 6 points and knock off 4 pips on my card.
4 pips.
Okay, 4 points of damage taken, no other effects from the hit.
Right.
Okay.
Now, yeah.
So you discard your cards. I have to discard down to 5 cards right away, and if you have more than 5, you have to discard down as well.
Oh, but
and you can also, as the end of your turn, discard and redraw up to 5.
Which we will. So I get a follow-up move now as well, or is
that's correct. So your secondary move is an additional 6 inches. So she continues to cartwheel, firing off arrows as she goes.
She's a ninja, demonic bow-wielding ninja. I'm gonna jump over here.
You guys will notice real quick, this game moves very, very, very fast.
Yep. And I'm pretty new, so I'm going slow. So that's it for my turn. She goes back to the idle pile.
Yep.
I get to drop cards. I want to keep this one and these 2 orange. I don't really need these yellow, so they're gone. And I redraw back up 2 cards to 5.
Yep.
On my hand. So I got both void cards. All right. That's my turn.
Okay. Looks like we're rocking into my turn now. I'm going to go ahead and select a model to put into my empty slot. It looks like Navarre is one of my heroes. I'm going to stick him up here because he's pretty good at getting to where he needs to go. Leaving Oxygen in my idle pool. I'm going to activate my Paragons. So my Paragons have a thruster move of 8 inches, and they also fly, which means I can move over intervening terrain. So I'm going to try to get into combat as best I can here and see what else is moving. So we're going to go ahead and rock it up.
Sexy jetpack models.
Wrong guy.
And you're going to get all the tokens for
Where is he?
your buff.
There we go.
I love the fly because they just ignore all the training, whatever.
So Paragons are big, huge, armored, you know, space knights with massive shields and laser lances. It's good, fun stuff. All right. So going to my Paragon list here, I got a couple of things that I can do. I have a close combat attack with a lance charge, which gives me the charge ability, granting me an additional 4 inches of movement. If I'm lucky, I might be able to pull it off and get a hit off on Marakanto, which I'm going to need 2 blue and 1 green to get off. So here's my 2 blue, here's my 1 green, and I'm going to have a lance charge against Marakanto. This is a close combat attack, so go ahead and draw your close combat defense abilities. I'm going to go ahead and draw my attack ability.
Close combat, that's my attack. That's my defense, which is 2, so I'm going to draw 2 cards.
So my skill is 3, so I'm going to draw 3 cards into my hand, and as I'm doing my lance charge, I'm going to spend 2 more blue to increase the damage to 7. And that is going to be it for my press. So what do you got?
Okay, do I have any defensive abilities at all?
Well, you do have, let's see, well, it looks like you have 2 debuffs.
Yep.
And you have 2 ranged attacks. No, you do not have any redirects, no extra goodies. So I'm going to go ahead and get my additional 4 inches.
Uh-oh.
4 inches is going to drag me right into combat. And I'm going to deal 7 damage in combat. Now, does she have any armor on?
She does have armor. 1.
So she's going to take 6 points of damage from the knight.
That's going to hurt pretty bad. So
it's pretty good.
She looks deadly but vulnerable.
Yeah. Not even 18 boxes. So.
Okay.
Yep.
So he's done his damage. He's got 2 more inches to kind of scale off, so I'm going to go ahead and back off just a few inches here. Try to keep people from getting on my backside. Very cool. Other than that, I go to my hand. Is there stuff I want to ditch? This yellow and orange I really don't think I'm going to use.
And I ditch cards now.
You need to go down to 5.
5,
because that was what was left over. I'm going to ditch 2, and it leaves me 3 in my hand, so I'm going to draw 2 to 5. Oops, throw my cards into the bags.
Real quick too, while he's talking, I had a void card. This is the multicolored card, so it's 1 for any of the colors. So that's pretty handy. I'm gonna hang on to that one.
And your void cards are now cycled out for quite a while. So
Yep, until you reshuffle.
Oh yeah, talk about that real quick. What happens when we go through the entire deck in a game? We're only like turn 3. What happens?
You burn your deck, you recycle it, shuffle it up, and then throw it back together. So the idea is that it's right there for you all the time.
About how often do you go through your deck during an average game?
Average game I've gone through about 3 times. Okay. Yeah. And it also depends. A lot of your characters do have some milling abilities that allow you to pull through and draw cards as part of their base actions. You'll find that you draw cards a lot more effectively than not. And it's actually a big part of the strategy of play, so that you're customizing your hand for the next round of combat.
That's something I do want to mention. I was hesitant about this game because I was like, I want to roll dice, not cards. But then I played a couple games, I found out about the milling mechanic with the decks and was like, wow, this actually works really well. I'm impressed that they have this much deck cycling to go into the game. Right. So it works a lot better than I thought it would. So give it a shot. That's all I'm trying to say.
Strategic element to luck of the draw as well.
Right.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of things to consider during play as well. Like I said, there's a battle going here on the tabletop, but you guys also are managing these 2 dashboards. You get to see who's active and what's coming up next, and there are powers and abilities that actually interact with that dashboard, sometimes knocking guys right out of the queue, back to the idle pile, forcing activations out of turn, screwing with your opponent's strategy.
Yes, that's cool stuff. So we can stop there, but overall, what's a typical play size for this game?
Play size for this game plays on a 3x3 foot table. An average game is for us would be a 50-point game, which is the equivalent of one of our starter sets, and possibly 1 or 2 either characters or larger models. It's relatively 8 or 10 models in terms of size. That we really think that the game plays best with dense terrain. So really get things in that block line of sight. Something that's worth mentioning is that in this game, there's a lot of guys running around with laser rifles and cool exploding things. And the neat thing is that we don't actually measure range in this game at all. This is a gang fight in a very short, confined space. Range is not an issue.
Range isn't a thing.
Guy can see you with a pistol or a gun, he's going to go ahead and use it.
Line of sight, I see you, I use it because it's space lasers.
The only thing you're measuring is movement. That's it.
Awesome. Well, John, thanks again for the demo.
Hey, you're very welcome.
Relic Knights, check it out. AdamHarry from BoLS, sign off. Have a good one.
Cheers.